Hey guys, it's me. Today on the show, Jussie's judicial joke and a Patriots penchant for prostitution. See what I did there? I'm a genius.
Are you ready to be podsmacked?
You better be.
Now, here's Rob Carson.
Because I'm going to smack the crap out of you today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rob Carson Show. Welcome. Lots of stuff to get to on the show today, including the the president of the Patriots. Hey, we have a real reason to hate the Patriots. Yes, we do, and we're going to get to that very shortly on the show. Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Glad to have you here on this edition of the show. Where do we start? Jussie Smollett. Did you remember Jussie Smollett? Did you know Jussie Smollett? 3 weeks ago? Did you know his name? Nah, you didn't, because he was not a household name. Congratulations, Jussie. You are now. Who names their kid Jussie? Jussie? Anyway, Jussie Smollett on Empire, which has a collective audience weekly per episode of 5 million viewers. Not a big show. It's not a big show. You're thinking, wow, 5 million. Listen, if it was me doing a show to 5 million, it would be a big deal because, my budget is zero. But Jussie's audience is 5 million viewers. That's it. 5 million viewers. All these actors. Jussie makes $65,000 an episode, which, if you paid attention over the years to different sitcoms and whatever, $65,000 an episode is it's okay. It's not gigantic. It's not. If you looked at, I remember Friends, people making $100,000 an episode was a big deal. And you record a bunch of them and all that stuff. And Friends people made a lot of money. $65,000 not a lot of money. Jussie Smollett feels that was not enough money, and so he's using it as an excuse to create a racial incident. Now, this is bullshit. When you look at his life, his parents were radical leftists. He's a radical leftist. He's saying now that he used this fake racial incident, which, by the way, we'll get to very shortly on the show. Was not, it wasn't, it was a fake racial incident. It was, even though Maxine Waters and Al Sharpton and others are still standing by this idiot. It was fake. It was fake. It's obvious it was fake. There's no doubt at this point, and I realize you have due process in this country, but there is no doubt that this a-hole did this. Dear God in heaven, he wrote a check to two doofuses, bodybuilding actors who went to the hardware store and bought the items that Jussie told him to buy, including rope and bleach and all that stuff. And we saw it on video. It is painfully obvious. It is very clear if you look at the Chicago PD, even the black Chicago PD, the head of the Chicago PD, black guy. He says, "Yeah, it was fake." It's obviously was fake. This is where we are in this country. This is Trump derangement syndrome. It is. And this is so problematic, you have no idea. It's the beginning of what could eventually be, to some degree, and it's not going to be a traditional civil war. I've heard the expression, it's going to be a civil war. We've never had I won't say that the original Civil War was an ideological civil war. This is a political civil war. And it's going to be different than the one before. Because that involves states. It involved the Mason-Dixon line. There's something coming. I don't know. You and I have never lived through these times, we've never had this ideological divide that is so violent on the left's part, by the way. And the left is the one that's guiding the violence. And I will tell you, the left doesn't know, pardon me, turn to my headphones. The left doesn't know the fight they're picking. Because the right, and you're saying, the right, you're a Nazi, man, you're a right-wing extreme. No, I'm a conservative. The left doesn't know the fight they're picking. Because the fight they're picking does not involve most Americans. It doesn't, fortunately. Thank you. Radical leftist ideology does not involve most Americans. And also, I might add, it doesn't involve the military. The military's on our side with regard to conservatism and the president. The left doesn't know that politically and ideologically and intellectually and physically, they're going to get their asses kicked. The left is not armed physically or intellectually for this fight. And I will tell you, because they're the party of take your guns away, they're the party of take your rights away, they're going to get their asses handed to them. If they want to go there, if you on the left want to go there, you want to fight, whether it be intellectually or physically, you're going to get your asses handed to you. You are going to be destroyed. And I'm going to tell you, bring it. Bring it. Bring it. You panty waist. Yeah, my dad used to use that expression. Panty waist, snowflake generation. If you really think that Ocasio-Cortez is the way to go, if you really think that Bernie Sanders is the way to go, try to force that ideology on me, because it ain't going to work. Try it. The president has already said, this is not a socialist nation and never will be. Try it. Okay. Jussie Smollett, an actor who you'd never heard of before, feels betrayed after posting a $100,000 bail. He's innocent, he says. Wow. Mr. Smollett is a young man of impeccable character and integrity who fiercely, stop it, fiercely and solemnly maintains his innocence. Feels betrayed by his system that apparently wants to skip due process and proceed directly to sentencing. This is according to his lawyers. Today, we witnessed an organized law enforcement spectacle that has no place in the American legal system. This is worse than OJ. I mean, and I'm not saying because OJ is a black guy. I'm just saying it's worse than OJ. It is so patently obvious that this doofus did this. He did this. It's obvious. He wrote a $3,500 check to these two actors who were on the set. $3,500 check. They even showed him going into the hardware store, buying, yeah, man, I need two black ski masks, some bleach, some rope that's for a noose. I mean, just some rope that we're going to use and all that. Yeah. It's fairly obvious. I mean, it is. Come on. It is fairly obvious. Anyway, so the presumption of innocence, a bedrock in the search for justice, was trampled upon at the expense of Mr. Smollett, and notably on the eve of the mayoral election in Chicago, by the way. They threw that in there as well. Like they were trying to throw the mayoral election. Facing a vigil 3 years behind bars for the events of the early morning, January 29th episode. This is the first statements from Smollett and his camp since the performer's arrest. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, wow. This honestly, this could earn him an Emmy. Unbelievable. Now, not only, and you may not recall this, a couple weeks ago. Now, Jussie Smollett. He is a radical leftist. His parents were radical leftists. I'm not all familiar, but I heard my buddy Chris Plant talking about this today. One of his parents was a radical Black Panther. He is a radical leftist. He's had on his social media wearing T-shirts say F Trump and all that stuff. I mean, he is a hater. He is a hater. Now, pay attention to me, because there are people who will use the detestation, how do I say that? Is that a word? The detestment of Donald Trump as an excuse to explain their extreme reactions. Donald Trump drove me to this. Donald Trump drove, and this is big. It's coming. Donald Trump drove me to do this. The fact that Donald Trump is the president drove me to do this. The devil made me do it. This, I'm just saying right now, Rob Carson, 2019. This is going to be the excuse for him. And the reason why it will work is because there are people in the media who will support the narrative. This is sick. This is sick. Donald Trump winning the election drove him to do this. Donald Trump is hateful, anti-gay, anti-whatever rhetoric drove me to do this. It's going to happen. Get used to it. It's going to happen. This is really, really frightening. By the way, before we get into a little bit more on this, Jussie Smollett has been cut for the last 2 episodes of the series. And he's getting $200,000 for staging the hate crime, The Empire. And then, I don't watch The Empire. And it's not because I'm white. Okay? I don't watch The Empire. I don't watch The Empire because I'm white. I just don't have time to watch the gosh darn show. I don't care. All right? I don't, I didn't have Boardwalk Empire. I didn't have time. And that's mostly white people. I didn't have a chance to watch it. Sorry. Didn't have a chance to watch it. The Empire, I didn't even know it was all black. But apparently that's a big deal. It's all black. I don't care. My wife watches Grace and Frankie. I don't watch it because half the cast are gay. No, I don't watch it because I don't like the show. But it's not because half the cast are gay. Or at least the characters. I don't care. I don't have the time to watch it. I don't like the show. Because it's kind of a girl show. I don't like it. Whatever reason. It's not appealing to me. There are a lot of shows that are not appealing to me. I didn't like Breaking Bad. Most of the cast white. I'm a white guy. I didn't like a show that's white. How weird is that? But I don't watch Empire because I don't care about it. It's not because it's black. Jussie Smollett sent himself a letter saying, "You will die, black F word," which is, I'll just say it, faggot. Okay? Because I don't have FCC rules to guide what I say. You will die, black faggot. Okay? He sent him a you know what? And Jussie, I mean, like a classic actor. He wrote kind of this over the top, almost like a musical narrative, like It's so stupid. He claimed that, and I remember when his original accusation of an attack in Chicago came out, he said they poured bleach on him, presumably to make him white. I know. Put a noose, which, by the way, was on the receipt at the hardware store that the two guys that he paid for $3,500 to go, produce this hateful act. And then also the PS to resist us. He had them wearing MAGA hats and saying, "This is MAGA country." There are no Trump supporters who've ever said, "This is MAGA country." It's just so stupid. But he sent this is so good. He sent a letter with, that old school, like 1970s cutting letters out of newspapers and stuff. Saying, "You will die, black fag." Okay. I mean, honestly, really, who still does that? I mean, there's plenty of things you could do with Photoshop. There are plenty of things you could do online. But this, wow, Central Casting couldn't have done better than this. This is just, oh my God in heaven. And the problem is that a couple of things. I realize if you are a political ideologue that you say Donald Trump sucks, blah, blah, blah. And this is, a hit on Donald Trump supporters. And it is about thinking the worst of Donald Trump supporters. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's what this is all about. Even though that's false. And because I'm a Trump supporter, I can absorb this. It sucks. I hate this. But it does support that supposed narrative. That on top of it, it also takes in the worst of Chicago police, of the city of Chicago, of this neighborhood, of race relations in this country, because somebody's going to go out there and bring a noose and go after. It was such a cliched attack, and it's not true, and it's not happening in this country. This is not happening in this country. It's not. This sort of stuff is rampant, and it's on the left, and it's meant to support a narrative that does not exist anymore in this country. Did you hear about there was a statue? These idiots vandalized a General Lee statue. I don't have it in front of me. I don't know where the hell it was. It was a general named Lee, and it was a World War II general. Because they're so desperate. They're so desperate to find hate and support the narrative that America has not progressed from the 1960s or the 1860s. It is remarkable. It is remarkable. And this is where, hope that this starts to begin a faceplant. Because I'm sick of this shit. My son is a white boy. He's 19 years old. I don't want him to be victimized by this shit. Tired of it. I'm tired of it. We are not 1968 again. We're not even close. Don't act like we are. Jussie Smollett making $65,000 a year on this show that gets 5 million viewers. I could get that on my podcast. Thank you. this little fop from Chicago who has been spoiled through his entire life is suddenly a victim. This is the thing. This is the victim thing. A lot of that going on. There's a lot of victimhood, a lot of A lot of victimhood in this country. The chief of police in Chicago, not particularly happy about it. Not particularly happy about it. And I don't blame him, because all of these things, all they do is drag us back. All they do is drag us back. That's what Black Lives Matter did. All they do is drag us back. Here is the Chicago chief of police, who, quite honestly, and he's a black guy. Listen, he's a black guy. He's a little pissed off about the whole thing. Here he is.
You saw on his face was most likely self-inflicted.
You learned about the motive of this. How did you react when you learned about the motive of this? How did that hit you and all the detectives when you finally figured out what the motive was?
So let me reiterate again. You know, you all heard me say consistently that we were treating Mr. Smollett like a victim, and we did. We might have had some peculiarities.
Is he a victim or a rectum?
With the case, as we do with most cases. So it wasn't until the 47th hour of their 48-hour hold time that we could legally hold them in custody that it took a change. So we gave him the benefit of the doubt up until that 47th hour. But when we discovered the actual motive, quite frankly, it pissed everybody off, you know, because we have to invest valuable resources. A lot of the, what I want you all to really understand.
Literally like 30 officers for this case. And I hope Jussie has to pay for every GD one of them.
Understand is when you all put things out there into the universe that's not actual facts, then it causes us to have to chase all that stuff down. Those are resources and time spent that we'll never get back, that we could utilize.
And, you know, kind of like there are like hundreds of shootings every weekend in Chicago, so kind of got to take away from that, which, you know.
For another investigation. And let me be clear about something. The shootings and homicides in this city were not impacted at all by this particular investigation. And again, we give the same amount of resources to every hate crime that's reported.
Christian Johnson, how many other people were involved in
There's no hate crime there. This guy's pissed off. I mean, can you imagine being in Chicago? Can you imagine what Chicago goes through every day? And suddenly they've got to devote resources to this little son of a bitch. Here is the police chief. He kind of angry about the whole thing.
Previous relationship, so that's probably the only reason he chose them.
How quickly did you see Jussie's interview on Good Morning America? Good Morning America. Good Morning, yeah. Yes, ABC. Did you see the interview on ABC?
I didn't see I didn't see the entire thing. I saw a couple of parts of it, and to be quite honest, it's shameful, you know, because it painted this city that we all love and work hard in a negative connotation, you know, to insinuate and to stage a hate crime of that nature when he knew.
Just real quick. When I was a kid, I listened to Chicago radio on AM when I was in my headphones in Southwest Iowa. And I love effing Chicago. I love Chicago. If I could live in Chicago, do radio, by God in heaven, I would live in Chicago, do radio. But the last decade in Chicago has caused me to go, F Chicago. And it sucks. It really sucks. Part of it, Barack Obama is from there. It is a cluster F. Chicago is a cluster F. It is just, oh God, it's this glorious, glorious gem. This glorious gem on a Great Lake. In Chicago, when I was a kid, the first flight I took in my life was 21 years old, and I flew into Chicago. And I went down Michigan Avenue. I looked at the high rises, and I went, oh, my God in heaven, Chicago, Chicago. Oh, my God, what a glorious city, and what a cluster F it has become. I remember when I was 21 years old, I go to Chicago. And I go up this, what was the Sears Tower. And I don't think it was WLS, but they used to have, one of the radio stations had their traffic reporter in the top floor in the Sears Tower. And and it was very, very, it was really sad, actually, because there's this little space with a curtain that had been drawn that normal, and it was literally, the traffic reporter was in this little cubby doing, just because they said they were top of the Sears Tower. I wish I had this on video. But I spoke to them, and I was like in awe that they did their traffic from the top of the Sears Tower, 1,000 whatever feet above Chicago. Oh, Lord, I wish I had video and all that. But I always idolized Chicago as a media market. And then, honestly, the last decade of my life, and I've done time on WLS, which is glorious, and I'd love to do more. Chicago has just become shit.
As a celebrity, it would get a lot of attention. It's just despicable. You know, it makes you wonder what's going through someone's mind to do something like that. So, yeah, I saw a couple of parts of it, and I was angered by it, to be quite.
You should be. And the thing is, this idiot doesn't realize what he's done, and he doesn't care. And he doesn't care. We've seen this narrative, and coming up in a few, I want to share you 2 incidences, at least, just this week. Just this week. Of fake hate crimes against Trump supporters. And it's happening. It's an epidemic. It's an epidemic. It's an epidemic. Let me tell you about Dots Pretzels real quick. Dots Pretzels are, and there are a few things that I say are a gift from God. All right, so there are some things that are just suddenly gift from God. I just say gift from God. Because they're so good, they have to be a gift from God. Pizza, gift from God. Mashed potatoes, gift from God. My children, of course, gift from God. Guacamole, gift from God. They're so good. Steak. Oh, my God in heaven, gift from God. Dots Pretzels. I know you're saying, oh, there's pretzels. Oh, my. You don't know what you're saying. Dots Pretzels. Oh, my God. I got some last night. My wife works at Ace True Value in the Kansas City area, and she got some, and these are so good. Oh, my Lord. They are salty. They are pretzely. They are oniony. They are garlicky, and you don't need to dip them in anything. They are just so dang good. DotsPretzels.com. DotsPretzels.com. Order these. I'm not kidding, guys. I don't get excited by pretzels. If there was another pretzel company that came to me and said, hey, talk about our pretzels, I'd say, nah, not really. They are so good. They are glorious. DotsPretzels.com. Order them online. Get a lot of them because you're going to love them. DotsPretzels.com. Oh, my Lord. One more cut from the chief of police in Chicago. Jussie apparently scratched himself.
And was there any evidence of money payments to the brothers?
Yeah, we have evidence. We have the check that he used to pay them. So the $3,500 was for the 2 of them in total, and then $500 upon return.
Was there?
Okay. He paid these guys a check for $3,500. These 2 henchmen of his who he apparently bought ecstasy from over the past, blah, blah, blah. They're probably going to use that as some sort of a drug excuse for what he did. Anyway, $3,500. Jerry Springer, remember Jerry Springer? One of the big controversies when he was the mayor of Cincinnati, I know this because I live there, was that he paid a prostitute with a check. Yeah, don't use a check. Charles Barkley actually talked about this today. He laughed about it, and it was really funny. If you're going to commit a crime, don't pay a check. But that didn't stop Jussie.
Like quote, an attack on the street, or did it take place somewhere else? How did that work?
No, it took place right there. So, of course, it was staged. The brothers had on gloves during the staged attack where they punched him a little bit. But as far as we can tell, the scratches and bruising that you saw on his face was most likely self-inflicted.
How did you react when you learned about the motive of this? How did that...
That's spectacular. Wow. Sorry, my needed to adjust my volume knobs. Yeah, he scratched his own face. Stop it! I know he scratched his own face. Knock it off. Mayor of Chicago, which makes you even not want to live in Chicago more, is Rahm Emanuel, who's he looks like the crypt keeper. I mean, he does. He does. Here's Rahm Emanuel getting emotional. Stop it. Getting emotional about the harm that Jussie Smollett has caused the city.
In Chicago, I know, as I said earlier today, across our city in 77 different neighborhoods, there are people that have signs in their front lawn, on their windows, that say, hate has no home here. And to use Chicago in that...
It didn't before. Hate didn't have a home there before. But because Jussie Smollett has decided to fake some sort of racial movement in this country, it does. God, that people still fall for this shit. It's not happening. It's not 1968. It's not 1863. It's not happening. And that you put up the people who put up that sign in their windows. They clearly do not know. It's not happening here. A little bit more from Rahm Emanuel getting emotional about a crisis that doesn't exist.
That way is not true to who we are as a city. Whether...
Thank God we have you here to be the harbinger to say that Chicago was not racist.
Because of sexual orientation, race, faith, we have 140 languages.
Unless you're Jewish, maybe, or a Catholic, then you're running some problems there.
Spoken in our public schools.
Okay, you don't want 140 languages spoken in your public schools. You want one. It's English. It means your children will succeed in whatever they do in their lives. Trust me, I know this because in my daughter's school in Maryland, there are like 60 languages spoken. And guess what? My daughter was held back because English was not the number one language, and a lot of the kids in the school did not speak English, and so she was held back. So who gives a rat's ass how many people are being, how many languages are being spoken in schools? English is the one you learn with.
We are a welcoming city of all types of people.
Yes, I know, and it always has been. Thank you for introducing that in 2019.
And I'm upset about what he said about the city and the way he used the city. But more importantly, and every city has challenges to work on.
Yeah, and you're causing them.
Say something.
And you're actually kind of, I don't know, making them worse.
Thing about our city. That is, our
He's going to get emotional now.
Police officers took this as a very serious hate crime, and they dedicated the resources to deal with it as a hate crime. But then you literally put doubt, not only about the city, but more, and also, in addition, what about the person that's in the workplace facing discrimination and racial discrimination? Right. What about the young man who is dealing with his own sexual orientation and is attacked for it in high school or in some school, who's now going to doubt whether people are going to believe him? You have put all those real stories at risk for your fake story.
What about what's happening nationally? What about when somebody claims that a Trump supporter is attacking them? What about when somebody fakes a hate crime nationally? Rahm Emanuel, you moron. What about that? What about that? It only matters when it's the microcosm of Chicago, when this shit happens in Chicago, but not nationally. It is so overwhelming. It is so overwhelming with people who want to bring us back, whether it be on college campuses or whatnot. All of these leftist hate crimes, they are leftist hate crimes. They are made up of whole cloth because they want to forward a narrative that doesn't exist and hasn't existed in 2 generations.
That is not right. That is not right for Chicago. That is not right.
Boo frickety who. It's finally hit home for you, you idiot. It's been happening everywhere else, everywhere else in the country for 2 generations.
What kind of city we are, because I know the city. I'm going to tell you an example of it. About 3 months ago, we were talking about our free community college program.
And
the young man at a breakfast that introduced me.
I really don't have the time to hear your policy bullshit. But you know what? You make your bed and you lay in it. Jussie Smollett, what he's doing is nothing new. It's nothing new. It's happening all over the country. It has forever. This is Ellen Page. This is so spectacular. No, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the montage of the media believing Jussie Smollett. Okay? Let me find this here real quick. I want to play the montage of the media immediately believing him because he's a black gay male, and America is a hateful country that hates gay people, black people, any person of color and whatnot. Here is the media immediately jumping onto the bandwagon. I shared this on the last podcast. Immediately jumping on the bandwagon, even though they had no evidence. And right now they're trying to cover their asses because they looked like the same.
Beaten with a noose around his neck and hospitalized. Empire star Jussie Smollett was the victim of a vicious, racist, and homophobic attack.
His attackers hurled racial and homophobic slurs.
2 people yelled racist and homophobic slurs.
Racial and homophobic slurs.
Not only homophobia, we're talking about racism. We're talking about hate with steroids.
They are looking for 2 suspects who were apparently wearing Make America Great Again hats.
Of course.
The offenders uttered, "This is MAGA country."
The hate crime went down early this morning in Chicago.
Officials are investigating the alleged assault as a hate crime.
And now police say they're investigating this as a possible hate crime.
Anyone attacked in a hate crime like this is an outrage.
This is stomach-turning, mind-boggling information. It's out of control.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi tweeting the racist, homophobic attack on Jussie Smollett is an affront to our humanity.
And Senator Cory Booker said the vicious attack on actor Jussie was an attempted modern-day lynching.
Kamala Harris calling the attack an attempted modern-day lynching.
A modern-day lynching. How is Kamala Harris, how is she responding today? Here she is with Al Sharpton, who, by the way, his entire being, his celebrity status was based on Tawana Brawley, which was a faux hate crime of a young woman who claimed that she was raped by white men. Al Sharpton has never, for some odd reason, lost credibility, even though his career was based on a fake hate crime. Here, Kamala Harris is talking about, or not talking, I should say, with regard to this hate crime. Hey, I'm a celebrity. Look at me. Hey, how you doing? Oh, hey. I don't want to answer any questions.
On Smollett's case, please.
No comment. I'm a celebrity. I'm a big deal. I'm going to get in this van here. Yeah, no comment, even though I said this was a modern-day lynching, even though, I was full of crap. I have no comment because I don't have to, because I'm a big deal. I'm going to be a presidential candidate. I'm in a van, even though, like Hillary Clinton, I didn't need help getting into it during the last campaign. Unbelievable. Apparently, Robin Roberts kind of colluded with Jussie. Robin Roberts on ABC had spent some time on the set of this show that he's on, Empire, which nobody watches. And I can't say that because the demo is exclusively African American, and it just is. It's kind of weird because when I grew up, there were shows that were what you think to be completely African American. Okay, I was a little boy when the Jeffersons came out. And we're moving on up to the east side, to to a deluxe apartment in the sky. I didn't care that it was George Jefferson and Wheezy. I didn't care. Good Times, the Jeffersons. I didn't care. But now we've got Empire, which is a black show. It's like Ebony, the magazine. There's a magazine called Ebony. I know. We're white people. We don't know. We read magazines like Bed, Bath & Beyond, Daily, stuff like that. Super. But no, there are exclusively black publications. There's a black network. I know. It's crazy. There's a black network. Yeah. It's called BT. What is it? Black BET. It's black. I know. Weird. There's no. Well, they tried it actually. I think it's called it White Entertainment Network. It was Wet. They called it Wet. Did not work. BET works. Wet, not so much. We didn't care about it. We didn't care about it. When I was a kid, it didn't matter. Sanford and Son. Chico and the Man. Chico and the Man was a Hispanic show. We didn't think about race. It was just good TV. Sanford and Son. We'd watch Sanford and Son. It was about George Sanford and his son. They ran a junkyard. It wasn't because they were black. It was just how that's a living they made, and it was funny with Red Fox. Elizabeth, I come Elizabeth. Oh, it was a good show. We didn't care about race. I'm dating myself, which was what I'd do if I were divorced. Actually, I would date myself because there's no woman who would actually choose me. Anyway, here's a little bit from Robin Roberts from ABC, and actually, this is Tucker Carlson and a guest talking about the collusion. Robin Roberts. There you go. Apparently colluded. Apparently was like, hey, man, I'm here to work for you. I'm not a journalist, really. I'm just here to make you look good and save your career.
Right. What are the facts here? And look, now it sounds like the prosecutors believe that there was a false report. They have brought charges. And, I would like to see what the evidence is. His phone records,
I don't know what the evidence is either, but I know a BS story when I see one. I thought it from day one. But why the media, which is paid to be skeptical and paid to chase down facts, are the ones demanding that we believe? Robin Roberts on ABC colluded with this guy to perpetuate his hoax. The other channels, the dishonest ones we compete against, are not even covering this development, apparently. Why would reporters fall for this before everyone else?
Well, that's a great question, Tucker. It's exactly why Justice Thomas was correct in raising yesterday in the Supreme Court why we need to rethink that New York Times versus Sullivan standard, which is the actual malice standard that was applied in the Warren Court back in the 1960s, which has insulated the media from liability in these cases. And this confirmation bias is a real problem.
It is a problem.
I agree.
And
Covington Catholic boys. Thank you.
Informed American electorate is important, and the media is responsible for helping the American electorate be properly informed.
That's right. And we're falling down
By the way,
on the job, I would say.
Robin Roberts was there with the interview with Jussie Smollett to just forward his narrative. It was not an objective interview. It was not meant to be an objective interview. She went into it saying, I'm going to support you, Jussie Smollett. That's what that's all about. I'm not a journalist. And there are cases that I'd probably say, I'll support you. But then there's also a point where you go, okay, this is really effed, and I can't do this anymore. Former governor of the state of Missouri, drawing a blank on his name, Eric, was a big fan, till I found out that he bound a woman sexually and took pictures of her. And I said, I'm not such a supporter anymore. Robin Roberts, not so much. She wouldn't do that. She would not say, oh, wow, you lied. Really. Here's an MSNBC guest, I guess, and I don't know who this guy is. Essentially pinning the blame on others rather than on Jussie.
Just a note to our viewers. I think you were watching quite a few people scrambling to get camera shots and pictures of a couple men that we've identified as Jussie Smollett's brothers. So we're still keeping an eye on all of that. Zach, the Rev's point, I mean, how do you think the Chicago Police Department conducted itself in the investigation of this? Because the reality is they were investigating it, as they pointed out, as a hate crime in the first couple weeks.
I mean, personally, it was incredibly shocking on day one to see the police department call it a racist and homophobic.
Okay, he is going to go after the police here. Okay, this guy is going to claim that there's some sort of a conspiracy by the police. This is how you could make things even worse than what Smollett already claimed, meaning that Chicago is this awful, racist, homophobic place. Hello, thank you. Not sure what that was. But anyway, he's also this fool, and unchallenged, by the way, for saying that the police were involved.
Attack. Their first statement, they explicitly said that and said they're investigating it as a victim case. And as someone that has been investigating these for years in Chicago, that was really unprecedented before.
Really? You've been investigating these for years? Like what other cases, fool?
And a lot of the time, people on the background were worried that they were leaning into this victim part of the story because they didn't believe him and they wanted to use it against him at the end when they were able to prove that he was lying. Historically, the Chicago police has not leaked information.
The Chicago police has not? See, bad English means bad education. The police have not.
Information like this hasn't leaked so quickly and so rapidly in a case.
Rapidly?
The police
I'm a white guy.
Are openly confirming and not confirming certain reports and not doing it to other parts of the story. So due to their vocal nature in this case, it was really peculiar. And people have a lot of reason to not trust them. I mean, as the Reverend has pointed out.
No, not really, actually. And the Reverend has no credibility whatsoever. Al Sharpton does not have any credibility.
Chicago has a deep history of openly lying to citizens.
I totally agree that Chicago politics, possibly even police, are corrupt, but it is painfully obvious that Jussie Smollett tried to pull over a hoax on the people of Chicago and the police department of Chicago. So let's move past that, doofus.
This police department did in 2016 openly through their union support Donald Trump. And a lot of...
Yeah, oh no, Doc, there it is. There's the nugget. The police apparently supported Donald Trump. You can't support Donald Trump. You've got to support Hillary Clinton. You've got to support the Democrat. And by the way, this attack that supposedly happened was all about hating Donald Trump.
This case has been focused on the MAGA statements, and the far right's really clung to them. So many people...
The far right. He's trying to make that an aside. The far right.
16 openly through their union support Donald Trump. And a lot of this case has been focused on the MAGA statements, and the far right's really clung to them.
Do you hear him? He wanted to kind of like slip that in. The far right. Sound like fart, actually, almost. The far right. No, the far right. There's no far right. I am not a member of the far right. Donald Trump supporters are not members of the far right. We just support the president. This guy tried to do a hate crime. It was a hate crime. It was a hate crime directed at supporters of Donald Trump. And that's, honestly, supporters of Donald Trump. That's what it was all about. It was a hate crime against people who voted a certain way. It was a hate crime against an ideology, against a group of people who voted for a president in a certain way. And who is this idiot? Just make it the far right. Let's listen to it again real quick here. I want to hear this again.
Did in 2016 openly through their union support Donald Trump. And a lot of this case has been focused on the MAGA statements, and the far right's really clung. The
far right. There's no far right here, you fool. And if you suddenly speak quickly, that isn't going to make a difference. Let's hear some more of this, please.
to them. So many people have felt that they've been so willing to call this a hoax is because the central question of this case was,
because the evidence is overwhelming. Yeah.
Are Donald Trump supporters out here committing hate crimes?
There are Donald Trump supporters doing hate crimes. It's not happening, you ass. Let's listen to Fool again here real quick. It's not effing happening.
Many people have felt that they've been so willing to call this a hoax is because the central question of this case was, are Donald Trump supporters out here committing hate crimes?
They're not.
And that's what really sparked a lot of attention. So to have a police department that hasn't been as cooperative as they have been this round, do not openly give information, do openly lie and mishold information in cases, and then to know that
now listen to the MSNBC anchor dismissing this bullshit.
Have openly supported Donald Trump in the 2016 election. A lot of activists on the ground are saying, wait, what's going on here? Who do we believe out of these two suspect people?
Stop it.
I want to go back to Ron Mott now because he was in that scrum that many of you were just watching.
What he just said, which is a giant flaming pile of crap. But because we're on MSNBC and it supports a certain ideology, let's skip it and move on. Yeah. Let's talk about the real hate crimes, shall we? I think that would be good. And let's do that in just 1 second after I talk about pit barrel cookers. Pit barrel cookers are absolutely amazing products. They're made to last your entire life. Pitbarrelcooker.com. See it on the left there? It's a barrel. It's got a horseshoe as the handle. A couple of horseshoes on either side. It's meant to smoke and roast meat. It's meant to grill meat. And it just kicks butt. Pitbarrelcooker.com. That's a classic on the left there. Yeah, 18 and a half inches across. They got the small to the junior. See the food on the right there? I made that with my pit barrel cooker. Order one of these. Order a pit barrel cooker or a pit barrel junior. It's going to last you forever. And you're going to be able to make some of the best food ever. I do a smoked salmon that'll kick your ass. I do a smoked salmon. It takes me literally 20 minutes. 25 to 35 minutes, depending on the temperature. 225 degrees. With pecan wood, and it is the best salmon you've ever had. There's my pork butts on the left there, my brisket. Oh, below that, my ribs. Little smoky burger on the right there. Pitbarrelcooker.com, pitbarrelcooker.com. Learn the ways of the smoke. All right, so let's talk about the real hate crimes that are happening out there against Trump supporters. Here's a story. Dateline, Falmouth, Massachusetts. Not a big surprise. Apparently there is a lot of people who are, there are a lot of people around the country who are committing hate crimes against Trump supporters. They are. Here is the audio. I don't know the video. The audio from the story. Rosianne Santos, 41, of Falmouth, going after a guy who was wearing a MAGA hat in a bar. Here it is.
Mark, Vanessa, the altercation happened inside a Mexican restaurant. This is Casa Vallarta on Route 28. The guy in the MAGA hat was sitting at the bar with two friends, and you can see for yourself what happens next.
See this right here? This is the problem.
That's 23-year-old Brighton Turner of Mashpee, seated at the bar. The woman behind him is 41-year-old Rosianne Santos of East Falmouth.
That's the problem. The problem with America these days.
Yeah, she's harassing him, by the way.
They want to
you
lash
can't
out
see
on
this,
people
but he's
who are
harassing
educated.
him.
According to the police
She's
report,
harassing
Turner told
him.
officers he was minding his own business when Rosianne began to verbally assault him due to his Make America Great
Which
Again
happens
hat.
a lot.
Did the guy in the MAGA hat say...
By the way, which just happened at Oak Park Mall near my home, where a guy assaulted a 14-year-old saying, F you, wearing a MAGA hat, and he was fired.
...thing to provoke her?
No, he just walked in and ordered his food.
As Falmouth police were escorting Rosianne out
of the... happening all over the country, by the way.
A restaurant.
And it's not fake.
Bartender Gio Macario says she took another swipe at Turner.
She just tried to grab my hand in front of 4 officers. Not smart.
I couldn't imagine somebody...
While she's being arrested, goes after his MAGA hat.
Just coming up to somebody and hitting them, right, when there's cops everywhere.
They showed us the video today, and I was really surprised about his restraint in the whole situation.
There are two sides to every story, and we got Rosiani's by phone. She says she's a Brazilian immigrant, and although she regrets her actions, she claims she was...
Okay, she is going to claim victimhood here. Listen to this. This is spectacular. All right. She's a Brazilian immigrant. Now, we've had immigrants. The country is based on immigration, okay? It has been. And we've all moved here, and Irish people were discriminated against, and Chinese and all that. These are all... Listen to this absolute bullshit line by her.
Provoked.
I had a little bit to drink. Maybe that's the reason that I couldn't walk away.
I think you had a lot of drink. I think you drank a lot.
But being discriminated for so many times.
She's been discriminated so many times.
In my life, I just had to stand up for myself. He's not a victim. I am the victim. I have been bullied.
He is not the victim. I am the victim. This is Jussie Smollett. This is just... he is not the victim. I am the victim. I have been bullied. Yeah, I was bullied, actually. I was really bullied. I know. I have white privilege and everything. I was seriously... I have white privilege. So the fact that when I was growing up, that 5 or 6 kids would beat me up at the same time, that doesn't matter. I was white privileged. I was very privileged. The fact that every day of my life I was assaulted at school from first grade until my sophomore year in high school about my weight, etc. White privilege. It happened not only at school but also at home. So I'm white privileged. You know what? She's I've seen pictures of her. She's a hot piece of ass. She's never been victimized in her life. Okay. Give me an effing break. She's just a hater. Here's another case of real hate. Hayden Williams was on campus at Berkeley, which is a dangerous place to be if you have any other side of any other point of view other than terribly, terribly left of center. He basically put up a sign that said that hate crime hoaxes hurt real victims, which I believe a couple of other conservatives have done because it's true. Hate crime hoaxes do hurt real victims. He decided to have this here. And another man approached the table and physically attacked him, which is what just happened in the story I just told you about. Here is, I think I have the video. I'm not sure if this is Sean Hannity or the actual video of the kid being punched. Hold on.
And request that anyone with information about the incident come forward and report what they know in support of our police department's ongoing investigation. We intend to identify and bring the perpetrators to justice.
Here we go.
A photo of the suspect has been released.
There's the asshole who did it.
As a search for him now is ongoing at this hour. Joining us now with reaction, the
Kid
student at the
punched in the
center of
face.
this controversy.
Oh, there he is.
Hayden Williams is with us, Fox News contributor, campus reform editor-in-chief. Our own Lawrence Jones is here. All right, obviously there's a lot going on here. Is that black eye, by the way, from this incident?
You think?
Yes, it is. Okay, none of us, you're watching what's happening with Jussie Smollett, correct?
Yes.
A lot of people may doubt your story. What led up to it?
I don't.
And is there any evidence that you have eyewitnesses that will testify that you did nothing to provoke this?
Absolutely. So I'm a field representative, as you said, for the Leadership Institute, and it's my job to help organize and train conservative activists throughout California. And on Tuesday, I was invited to UC Berkeley's campus to help a conservative group, Turning Point, recruit new members. And while I was there, some students took offense to our sign that we had that said, "Hate crime hoaxes hurt real victims." And this person claimed we were promoting violence on campus and proceeded to
there you go. Look at this.
Take his aggression out on us.
How many witnesses do you have? Because listen, I'm watching. I train MMA.
They're looking for the person who did this, and this kid was on campus, and this a-hole approached him said that you're promoting violence and then punched him in the face.
And that shot was a cheap shot, especially at the end.
I hope they arrest this son of a bitch and throw his ass in jail.
When did you start filming? At what point in the encounter?
There it is.
As soon as
Boom.
the gentleman, and I use that term lightly, approached our table and began acting very erratic, I feared for
this happens all the time in campuses around the country, in restaurants. We've seen it with Donald Trump MAGA hats. Is it a surprise that when you have the nation's supposed leaders saying that a MAGA hat is a KKK hood, that this would not happen? This is a civil war that's going to happen. And if the left picks a civil war, they're going to get their asses handed to them. They're going to get their asses effing handed to them. And maybe that's what they need.
On safety, so I started to record at that moment.
All right. Now, did you try to diffuse this? Did you try and say, I'm entitled to my view? I guess one of the posters said, this is MAGA country. So I don't know what the trigger is for liberals and Make America Great Again. Walk us through the very beginning. This guy, what did he do? When did you start filming? And how many people were there with you?
That's right. So I had the president of the club with me there, and we were talking to a potential new member when this happened. And these two people just approached our table, as I said, very erratically, and started cussing at us. And that's when I knew that this was probably a troublesome situation. So I pulled out my phone to start recording, and his friend, one of the gentlemen that approached our table,
this is Berkeley,
smacked my phone out of my hand, and
but there were other people videoing, thankfully, right?
That's right. That's right. And I picked up my phone.
Would you say how long into the confrontation did the video begin that you have seen?
6-7 seconds.
Wow, Lawrence, I've known you for a long time. You know about this group really well. Give us. I know you've been investigating this.
It's from the guy from Campus Reform, which is a gift from God, by the way.
So, Sean, you know we don't rush to judgment on this program or on this network. We try to get all the facts. We have contacted three students that were surrounding this event. They have backed up what Hayden had to say here. We contacted the university police, and we've even asked for if anyone has any other evidence that could give us a full picture to give that to us. This is what we do now.
But we do know that there were witnesses from the get-go, correct? Numerous ones?
Yes, we know there were 3 witnesses.
Kind of like the Cub Catholic boys. There were a lot of witnesses after the original story. And I hope this guy gets his ass handed to him. Don't you wish? Aren't there times that you watch these things and you just wish you were there so you could just beat down that SOB? Oh. All right, let's move on. Okay, so another reason to hate the Patriots. Did you hear about this? Another reason to hate the Patriots. And I got to tell you, I don't care about hating the Patriots. I'm not a big fan of the Patriots. But the owner of the Patriots, Robert Kraft, billionaire, got caught soliciting prostitution. I'm a libertarian, so I believe in legalizing it. Nevada has it right. Some people want to sell their bodies. Let them sell their bodies. Who cares? Get the government involved, and then possibly can regulate it and keep women from being sex trafficked, I should say. Robert Kraft is a man who should know better. He is a 77-year-old man, and he and a bunch of his buddies, and apparently there are a lot of people who are higher up than Robert Kraft, got busted soliciting prostitution at a Orchids of Asia spa. There's one right up here by my house. There's a Asian spa. Why hasn't Kansas City raided this place? Well, why there are places in Colombia and all these places around me. Why aren't these places raided? If it says Asian spa, and it's nothing against Asians, don't get me wrong, but there are some very obvious signs that if a spa is in a strip mall with a friggin' payday loan place and a pawn shop, it's not a spa. There are people there being trafficked. This son of a bitch, this rich son of a bitch, goes into an Asian spa, and there are people there who are being illegally trafficked. He needs to go to jail. It's not about finding somebody for solicitation of prostitution. It is about going to a place where people are being trafficked, where he's having sex with slaves, and he knew it. I'll bet he knew it. Here's the story about the Patriots owner who should go to jail, lose his ownership of the Patriots, by the way, and he will.
On the list, can you confirm for us that that name is the high-profile individual and professional
Please, the chief.
sports franchise owner that we believe it to be?
The chief.
Could you please speak to that name and that situation?
Yes, sir. He is one of the individuals.
Name who he is.
That would be Mr. Robert Kraft.
Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots?
Yes, sir.
And what is he being charged with?
He's being charged with the same offenses as the others, and that is soliciting another to commit prostitution.
And how many accounts may he face?
Right now we have 2.
So that would be 2 separate incidences or visits to the Orchids of Asia Day Spa, or one visit with multiple charges from that one visit?
2 different visits.
What are the charges?
You're rich enough to go to Nevada and hire a prostitute. You choose to go to a strip mall, Asian spa that keeps children in bondage. And you get a chance to rape slaves for money. Don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. Let's wrap things up on a better note, shall we? There's a new movie out. And this is on the heels of the Queen biopic or biopic, Bohemian Rhapsody. This is a terrific trailer from the Elton John movie called Rocketman. Taron Egerton, he was in Kingsman, The Secret Service. He stars as Elton John. And Elton John, I just think, my God in heaven, what a glorious talent. What a glorious talent. There are a few in the world who walk the earth and have had the impact from the beginning of their career. I mean, he was just in Kansas City a week ago for his farewell tour. It sold out the place. I've seen him a couple times in concert. Elton John started out as a young man in his 20s, and his career has lasted 40 plus years, and he is a genius. He's a genius. He's a brilliant musician. He's a brilliant vocalist. He has a natural resonance in his voice that is some will never have. Most will never have. He's a genius. It's like Freddie Mercury. It's like Bon Scott from AC/DC. And I still, 40 years later, I look at Bon Scott and I'm like, what a tragedy. He died at 34. Elvis Presley died at 42. You may say Elvis Presley, whatever, he's not that great. No, he was a phenom. Listen to Hound Dog. Listen to his vocals in Hound Dog. Nobody can do them again. Nobody can come even close. Say what you want about Elvis Aaron Presley, but by God in heaven, he could sing. This is the biopic. Elton John. I want you to watch this before we go. It's called Rocketman. It's coming out here. I think it's May 31st, and I effing cannot wait to see this movie.
Feeling empty.
I could hear the whole tune in my head. It was all there, I could see all the notes, and I just had to get it out.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside.
What did you say your name was again?
My name is...
Reggie!
Reginald Dwight.
Reginald? That's my granddad's name.
So how does a fat boy from nowhere get to be a soul man?
You gotta kill the person you were born to be in order to become the person you want to be.
I'm thinking of changing my name to Elton.
But that's my name.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you could be the best-selling artist in America if you desire.
I was trying to do something bold. Buy yourself something flashy.
Can you even play the piano in those?
Let them know who you are. And just don't kill yourself with drugs.
Love
So how does it feel to be a star? It's never gonna last. Let's just enjoy it while we can.
Those sleeping arrangements get out, all of this is gone.
I just hope you realise you're choosing a life of being alone forever.
Don't we want to just sing without this ridiculous paraphernalia?
People don't pay to see Reg Dwight. They pay to see Elton John.
Yeah, they do.
Sorry. I know.
Care how much pressure I am under?
Not really. I'll still be collecting my 20% long after you've killed yourself.
Maybe I should have tried to be more ordinary. You were never ordinary.
What an amazing movie.
What a shy little boy you were. Look at you now.
I can't wait to see that movie. Oh, the soundtrack of your life. His first song came out. I think Rocketman came out. I was like 7 or 8 years old. Oh my God, the music is so good. Is music that epic anymore? I don't think so. I don't think so. Can't wait to see it. Guys, thank you for joining me. If you get a chance to check out my t-shirt and swag line, tpublic.com, Conservatees. We have a new line of clothing coming out. It's called Funny Foodie. Yeah, it's hilarious t-shirts and other swag directed at people who like eating, except for vegans, because vegans don't enjoy eating. They're just terrible people. So anyway, check that out, tpublic.com, Conservatees. Funny Foodie's on the way. In the meantime, guys, thank you. Thank you so much for watching on all of the platforms that we're watching. If you would, please follow me on Facebook at Rob Carson Show. If you get a chance to check out, I'm on a network called Spoony, SPOONY.com. That's my food podcast. Okay? Twitter at Rob Carson. Share with others because I love having you watch, and I know a lot of people enjoy this show. And this can be something revolutionary with regard to a guy in his home doing a show that's about politics and pop culture and comedy. All right? God bless. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now.